Conversations from the Cave is a raw self-help podcast dedicated to discussing men's issues. From pornography to parenting, from religion to real life, from learning to loving. We discuss the real issues that affect real men every day. Join us each week for powerful, revealing Conversations from the Cave. Now your host, Kurt Kennedy.
Welcome to Conversations from the Cave. I'm your host, Kurt Kennedy. Today, from the Cave, we'll be talking about one of the hotly debated topics. We had a female run for president in the last election, and she brought up a lot of issues related to women's rights and feminism. Feminism is alive and well in these United States and across the world, and it tends to be a very hotly debated topic. Are there some benefits to feminism? Are there some drawbacks? And what do we as guys think? How can we make our peace with either feminism, or should we toss it out altogether? I'm going to get a shout out from each of the guys. We're joined in studio by Mustang. Mustang, can you check in for us?
Hey, this is CJ Mustang McCann coming to you from Birmingham, Alabama.
All right. We're also joined in studio by Big Guy BA. BA, can you chime in for us?
This is BA, and I think I want to run from this topic, but I'm ready to jump right back in and hit it hard.
And also, Nola, check in with us, my friend.
This is Nola73. I'm in line with BA. We're going to make it do what it do.
So the topic today is feminism, and it's very hard in today's society as a man not to deal with the issues that have come as a result of feminism. Now, I have broached this topic primarily because the question for most men today is, how do we act towards women if all the rules have changed? How do we treat them like they want to be treated? And how do we know how they want to be treated? There are some who say that feminism pushes the notion that women are equal to men. There are some who push the notion that women are superior to men and that men are the bane of all the world's existence. But at the end of the day, can we make our peace with feminism? Can we make our peace in terms of understanding what that means? And at what time should we maybe cast aside the populist belief and look for biblical understanding? So I'm going to kick it off to my right with our wonderful commentator, Mustang. Do you want to weigh in a little bit on our topic for today?
For me, I don't. Man, you threw him on us. I know, right? Let me console. Jessica, come here for a minute. I'm just kidding. No, but to be honest with you, man, I'd be completely 100%. As we always are on this. If we're going to talk about pornography and looking at this and looking at that, of course, I don't have a problem with this. I'm one of those guys. I feel like men can do it. Men and women are yin and yang, in my opinion. My wife, in my opinion, was designed to do everything I cannot do. I was designed to do everything excuse me, let me say this. My wife was designed to do things that are more difficult for me to do, impossible and improbable. I was designed to do things that are impossible and improbable for her to do. I can help create the baby. I cannot breastfeed the baby. I can't do that. I cannot birth the baby. It is physically significantly more difficult for my wife to do a lot of other things, whether it be outside or wood chopping or this and other. It doesn't mean she can't, just means it's more difficult and possibly less desirable. So all that to say, do I believe both can do essentially what the other one can do? Yes, for the most part. I just feel like it's a yin and yang situation where men were made perfectly for women, women made perfectly for men.
Let me just put it this way: is like what Chris was saying, or Mustang was saying, is that it is all about perspective, and you're not a female, but you want to look from that woman's side and how she fits into a relationship or the marriage, and see where she is, because women go after careers, women have children, women are phenomenal because not just who they are, but because, as I believe, what God is doing in their life, especially my wife's life. Yeah, there's struggles and there's hardships, but guess what? There's struggles and hardships on my side, just being a man. Why don't we have a thing called manism if we have feminism, or...
I think one of the things that you're bringing up that actually is very poignant, and that is, do we value the genders equally? And do we allow for the full manifestation of femininity? And if you notice, I made a distinction between feminism and femininity. Do we allow women in our lives to be feminine and still effective, or do we minimize their efficacy because we count them as women? There's something to be said for that. Before I chime in, I kind of want to hear what Nola has to say on that.
Let's see.
You know what? I'm going to tell you something. What's so amazing is here we are. We've talked about, over the course of these last weeks, we've talked about forgiveness. We've talked about pornography. We've talked about all kinds of addictions. But when we talk about feminism, I mean, most of us are speechless when it comes to this topic, and it affects us all. And I think that the concern is, how do we balance what is considered to be politically with what we know to be correct, and then sensible implementation and having the right ideology to deal with women in a way that is pleasing and uplifting and resembles the way that Jesus Christ dealt with women, okay? Because I know that you guys are Christians. But go ahead.
I'm listening to everything you say. And I'm going to say this. I don't think men have a problem with it. Men don't have a problem speaking on any subject. Men just don't want to create chaos when you have to deal with women. And so it's a touchy subject because we don't need to create another issue when we already have issues that we're working through with our so-called feminism women. You know, and so we just try to walk on regular hard ground and not fall in the quicksand. And that's the only issue that men have. So we can speak on topics. We can talk about women. We can talk about how gentle and sweet they are and how caring they are. We can also talk about how they can become monsters or the spawn of Satan. You know, but we want to go home and listen to that woman. Well, baby, I'm not talking about you, but I'm a woman. So it's a ground that we have to walk on or tread on. And the reality is, most of us have to really not care about or how a woman feels to say the thing that we really want to say without having to be persecuted by a woman.
Here's
that's what makes it a touchy subject.
Go ahead, Mustang. Go ahead, Mustang.
No. You had something you want to say. That's fine. I can wait.
No. Actually, I think one of the things that I'm dealing with, and I think the book No More Christian Nice Guy deals with this in a way that I think is actually rather profound. And I'm going to throw this out there. This is not my original idea. And the reason why I'm throwing it out there is because I think it needs to be said. We oftentimes will soft soak our comments when we have very strong opinions about something. And the reason for that, as Nola alluded to, one of the challenges that we have when talking about issues, and Nola really hit the nail on the head and said, hey, I don't want to create any conflict. I don't want to get into a situation where I'm going to have to deal with a challenge because I've talked about this particular subject, especially when there are other challenges that I can be dealing with that I have to deal with anyway. So why stir up the pit of vipers? Why stir up the wasp nest, so to speak? I think here's something that I want to throw out there, and then I want to get some feedback. So first of all, a lot of us understand traditional roles. And it was alluded to earlier by Mustang that there is yin and yang, the idea of equal in value, different in purpose. And I think one of the things that I will have to put on the negative side of feminism is there's this notion of similar in function. And I think what that does is it suggests there's a notion that says women can do anything a man could do and can do it better. So there's this notion in feminism that there's this kind of ideology. But no one bothers to ask the question, but why would you want to? Why choose that path if you don't have to take it? Men unfortunately don't have any choice. We have certain responsibilities that are just part of being a man. So why would a person who doesn't have to take up that particular responsibility need to do that? Also, the second thing is, what we have noticed is that over the last 10 years, feminism, not femininity, feminism has created in an environment where we now see that the number of marriages where men are choosing not to marry has gone up. And this is one of the first generations, I think it's the millennials, are the first group of people in America who have a reduced likelihood of ever being married, and primarily because men do not wish to take on the risk and the headstrongness of women. And so there is new research to suggest that a lot of times men would rather, quote, take women as equals, have a fling, but then not commit. to a relationship because they say, well, she's earning her own money. Let her keep her own house. I want to keep my freedom. And so men are not trading their freedom, and women are not having husbands who will raise families with them. So what do you guys feel about that? Now, and I know, Mustang, you had a thought from something else, but if you can circle back around to answer that, that would be great.
Well, I'm with you on the question. Why would you want to? And I think it's, to be honest with you, I think, I think because a few bad eggs out there, a few bad guys out there that, they towered over their wives or they towered over their girlfriends, primarily probably wives. And the women were like, you know what? I can go out. I can Rosie the Riveter this. I can go out. I can find my own job. I'm not going to let you beat me and tell me where you're going to go and how you're going to make your money. And I believe that we being men, created the very monster as far as of feminism. And I'm not saying to anybody that feminism is a monster, but the negative connotation that is associated with it, as far as I can do anything. I don't need you. I don't need your money. I don't need your help. I don't need your assistance. When there are good men out there like BA, like Nola, like me, like you, they're like, hey, I'm here to provide that for you. If it were my choice, I'd be more than happy to have money fall from the sky, and I don't have to do any of that and I can stay home. But I'm choosing to provide for you. I'm choosing to drive on a 3, 4, 5 hour trip. I'm choosing, to go out and chop firewood. I'm choosing to do these things to spare you. These are sacrifices. This isn't, hey, I think I just want to do this. I love sweating. Oh my gosh, I love keeping my eyes open, for 6 hours. So anyway, that's kind of my take on what you just said. Okay.
And then what about your comments that you had in relationship to the other comments?
Before it was in relationship with the Bible, and for me, it actually says, in the Bible to respect your wife. Husbands, respect your wives because of their position, because of the position that they're in. It actually says in the Bible as the lesser vessel. And what that means is, the exact same thing as you would with, why wouldn't you go up to a granny and roughhouse her? Why wouldn't you just shake her? You wouldn't do that because you respect her age and her tenderness. You respect her delicacy. A child, why wouldn't you do, jujitsu or wrestling hardcore to its full extent like you would with another man to a 2-year-old? Why wouldn't you do that? Well, you give respect to their lesser position. They're a child. They're delicate. They cannot handle that. They have a form that just simply can't handle that, as you would with another man. So the same thing with a woman. Long story short, the same thing with a woman. We are being delicate. We're respecting. We are understanding of your position. And as such, we're showing you more grace. We're giving away more of ourselves because of the position that you have. So, and it's really a great position, to be honest.
So I have a question I want to pose to Mustang. You showing grace, you showing mercy, you showing compassion, and you giving all of this delicacy to this woman. But let's go back to the question that was posed. What is this? Why, if you're giving all of this to the woman, what if she don't want it and choose to opt for that stronger role of not being the woman like she should want to be?
Yeah, I'm right there with you on that. And to be frank, and like you said, instead of stepping on eggshells, I think it's foolish. If you choose to do that, and that's what you want to do, that's fine. I mean, some people don't want a husband that's going to cater to them. Some people don't want this, that, and the other. But if you want to choose that, you want to work, you want to take my job, I get to sit at home, and you just fill up my shopping cart every week and just put $1,000 on there every week or whatever, and I get to go out and do what I want to do. Hey, more power to you. Chop wood. I want you to chop the wood, put up the tree, put the star on the tree. I want you to take out the trash. I want you to kill all the bugs. Go hang up the light fixtures. I want you to fix everything that's broken. Go for it, Angel. You do it. I'll sit here and have you rub my feet when you get home too. So, if I said that, people would kill me as a guy. They would go nuts. But, as a woman, it's kind of like, oh, okay, well, that's what you're supposed to do. So if she doesn't want it, more power to you, Angel.
Okay. Well, in addition to the points that were made, I think there are a couple of things that are challenging whenever we discuss the notion of femininity versus feminism. I think that feminism has in many ways placed women in roles that are similar to men. I don't know that it has necessarily improved the roles that women are in. I think that in many cases they've been placed in positions that have been far less desirable, but equal. There are some colleges now that are co-ed, to make things equal. There are many housing circumstances that may not have been necessarily